When you open the timeline panel, you'll notice it's divided into two sections. On the right is the actual timeline itself. That's where you can see when objects appear and disappear on the slide. On the left are three columns that control each object: visibility, editing, and titles. Let's walk through this section. The first column uses little eyeball icons to show visibility. If the eyeball is solid, the item is visible to both you and the learner. If it looks lighter or faded, that means it's hidden. For example, text box 1 is showing a lighter gray eyeball, which makes it harder to see, and that's Storyline's way of telling you the object is turned off. This applies to everything in the timeline, even audio. At the very top of the column, you'll see a master eyeball that can toggle visibility for all items at once. The second column has the padlock icon, and this one's all about control. If it's unlocked, you can move that object wherever you want, shift its position on the slide, drag it earlier or later in the timeline, or add and change animations. But if you lock it, the object is frozen in place. You can't nudge it, slide its timing, or tweak effects until you unlock it again. This is especially useful for background images, logos, or anything you don't want moved while you're working. So, how do you know if the item is locked or not? If you see the padlock icon for that object, then the item is locked and you can't edit any of its features. Finally, just like the visibility column, there's a master padlock at the top that locks or unlocks everything at once. The third column shows the object titles. By default, Storyline names them things like Picture 1, Text Box, or Text Box 1. That's fine when you only have a few items, but once a slide fills up, it becomes very hard to tell which item is which. The best habit you can build is renaming objects as soon as you insert them. Use names that make sense to you and to anyone else who might open the project later. For example, instead of Picture 1, I might call it Image, Storyline Screenshot. You don't have to follow my exact format, but keep it clear and consistent. It will save you time and frustration later. Now, here are a couple of tips for putting this into practice. Visibility and locking may look similar, but they solve very different problems. Hiding an object with the eyeball means it won't show up at all. You and the learner won't see it. And if it's audio, you won't hear it either. Locking, on the other hand, doesn't hide the object. It just prevents you from editing or moving it. Think of visibility as controlling what the learner experiences, and locking as protecting your layout while you build. Here's a real-world example. If you're testing a slide and don't want the background music playing on repeat, hide the audio track using the eyeball. But if you've got a logo in the corner that should never shift, lock it with the padlock. Two tools, two different purposes. And one last troubleshooting tip: if something isn't showing up when you preview your slide, whether it's an image, text, or audio, the first thing to check is the visibility column. More often than not, you simply forgot to turn it back on.